Well, good evening. It's me, Axel again, back again this week to talk to you about another game, this time Zanzarah. This action-adventure game was released in 2002 by THQ for PC, and it basically fulfills our need for a fully 3D Pokemon game, except this time with fairies. So I originally got this game back when it came out with no idea what it was about, just because the cover was pretty. But after I started playing it, I began to notice some similarities between it and another more mainstream game that I was very into at the time. So you start off as a perfectly normal girl living in London, but after some contact with a strange rune, you find yourself in a magical land where people capture, train, and trade in fairies. The wild fairies in this land are aggressive and will attack on sight, so you need your own fairy for protection. You can carry up to 5 fairies at a time, and if you weaken a wild fairy, you may capture it in a fairy sphere. So before you can go out into the forest, you need to select a fairy from the fairy master Rufus. There are 3 to choose from, each with different elemental typings and their own strengths and weaknesses. Once you have your fairy, the adventure begins. Travelling out in the wild attracts the attention of the aggressive fairies who live in trees, rocks and bushes. Once you attract their attention and the battle begins, you are transported to the astral plane, where you play as your fairy in a live-action FPS-style battle, where you power up your attacks. Powering up your attacks takes different amount of times, depending on what type of attack you are using, and if powered up for too long, they can backfire on you painfully. So basically, you run around the arena, shooting it at the other fairy until its energy is depleted, and then it throws bribes at you, seemingly in an attempt to make you go away. You will run across other fairy trainers in your journey who you must battle, pretty much the same way as the wild ones, the only difference being that they often have multiple fairies, just like you. You usually need to win these battles in order to continue with the very linear storyline. There are often throughout the world areas that blocked off originally with things like, for example, prickly bushes, and you must have your fairies learn special moves in order to get through these areas. The NPCs, for the most part, are very friendly, and you can understand them perfectly, even though they're not speaking anything remotely resembling English. You cannot, however, run past them, and being slowed to a trudging walk as you pass any NPC can be a little irritating. Also, even though they are friendly, they all seem to come with a massive superiority complex. As your fairies level up, they unlock higher levels of spells they can learn. They have 4 spell slots per fairy, and you can buy extra spells from special merchants, though the method for doing so is absolutely nuts. Basically, you pay this merchant 2 gold per slot to roll for the spells you may buy. Sometimes the slot he rolls is empty, and often it's just a bunch of spells that he's already rolled or that you already have. And sometimes you pay him 10 gold for just empty slots. After he rolls a spell you are interested in, you then have to pay extra on top of what you've already paid in order to buy it from him. But all this craziness is worth it for the chance to blast Tinkerbell and her friends in the face over and over again. So this game had some funny graphics glitches at the original release, mostly involve falling through the world into the eternal void. And with its re-release on Steam, I have played it and enjoyed completely different graphics glitches, such as losing my character's head altogether. None of these glitches, however, are bad enough to make the game unplayable, and with 32 different families of fairy to capture, train up, and evolve, 3D Pokemon, or Zanzarah as they call it, is worth trying out, especially if you like shooting cutesy little fairies in the face.